Right, hello and welcome to episode 2 of the Ammy MMA Media Podcast. My guest needs no introduction nowadays in the amateur scene. UKFC lightweight champion, Teddy Stringer. Teddy, how you doing?
I'm good, Charlie. I'm really good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm not bad, thank you. My first question then basically is 2021, strange year for many people still sort of the lockdown and COVID surrounding things. How has it been for you so far?
Yeah, it's different, thankfully, I've been able to train, so I'm just like training twice a day in my own little, just not a fight camp, but just working on bettering myself whilst there's no fights in like the near distance. But yeah, it's a weird one, just being able to just go to the gym and graft and work on improving myself rather than like normally I'd have had a couple fights by this stage.
Yeah, usually you have like if it's like February, usually you've got a fight, and then it's like July. I can remember sort of the schedule to it. So it's a bit strange. Sort of the training sort of thing. How are you sort of doing your training nowadays? Is it like twice a day? Is it working strength conditioning one day? How are you sort of doing your training schedule at the moment?
Yeah, I can't have my set things that I do on the week. I'm like just trying to get as much martial arts in as I can. So there's normally like one grappling session in every day. And then whether that's like technique, and then we spar hard grappling wise twice a week, and then there's like a striking session or a S&C session with that as well. So yeah, just twice a day, 6 days a week. Normally grappling in the morning, striking in the evening, so on. Just kind of just getting better at all different things, and like especially my striking as well, which is like is no secret that I'm a grappler. So this time that I've had off, I'm trying to work new things, start with a new boxing coach, new striking coaches and stuff. So that it's all just about improving.
Definitely. Talk about the development of striking. I was going to ask that. How much of a better fighter do you think striking wise you are since the Conor Hughes fight? Because obviously you've been at some of the gyms now I've seen and different, like you say, in different trainers and stuff. Striking wise, how much has that developed since then?
Good, yeah. He's just coming on every week with it. It's noticeably to everyone else, I think, from when they see the Conor Hughes fight to my next fight, they might see, oh, there's a big jump there. But for me, it's just very minor jumps every day, just getting a little bit better every day, every week. But I'm just starting to feel a little bit more comfortable with my hands and my shots. And I think with my next fight coming up as well, two grapplers going at each other, we've got to be prepared that there's going to be some exchanges on the feet where, so I need to get comfortable there.
Definitely. Obviously, you said you are from a grappling base. When you start to like work on your strike and you sort of say fall in love with it sort of thing, and you get good at it, how do you sort of avoid then losing the sort of roots of that? You're the jiu-jitsu guy as well. How do you sort of keep that as well?
Yeah, I think you've always got to play to your strengths and stuff. So keeping that focus, even like this morning I've been sparring, and whenever I'm sparring, I think, right, I want to work my striking, but also game plan here. What am I best at? I'm best on the floor. Take them down, beat them up from there. So it's okay to work your striking in drills and stuff like that, but I always have in the back of my head, whenever I'm doing sparring or wherever I'm in a fight, I think, take this to where I'm best and keep it there. So I don't think I will ever lose that grappling focus. It's until I start knocking people out.
One thing I noticed with your striking, where I seen the major improvements when you started training at fourth dimension. Can you talk to me a little bit about how much of an impact that's had for yourself?
Yeah, massively. Training there helps. It just helps with bringing on my striking and stuff. They're very like good Thai boxers and stuff there with just like good heavy kicks, pressure fighters. Like you look at the lights of the mat this morning. You've got like Amari, who's like a glory fighter, and he's just like the nastiest striker ever. Then you've got like Madders, who's just pings you up with volume, and just learning little things off those guys day in, day out. That's elevated my striking massively. And I've been there for about 2 years now. So lots and lots of learning from there. Yeah.
Obviously, I've seen you as well. You were down at Four Corner Combats as well. We talked a little bit about that. How did that come about, and what's that like training at such a good gym like that?
Yeah, it kind of came about from Jack Grant, who is a quality fighter. He comes down and he's trained a little bit with us at my grappling gym. because obviously he's under same head coach Neil Owen. So I got speaking to him, and he said, "Oh, should get down, mate." So I booked a week and went and tried it there, and it was serious, some proper rounds, great atmosphere, like a really nice gym, all friendly guys, and it was definitely an experience, and I'm going to be going back there in the future for sure.
How do you make that as well? Like, obviously, you get the great rounds, but how do you make that sort of a mental learning experience as well? Like picking the brains of these different guys, like I was thinking like Dear Casey, MVP, like say Jack Grant as well. How do you pick the brains of these guys and really learn mentally as well from these sort of high level athletes?
Yeah, I think it's important to, even when you're around those people for the week training with them, you get a feel for how they are mentally, and you ask some little questions here and there. But I mean, when we're living in the dorms like that for a week, I'm doing the same things that they're doing, and we're all doing the same things. We're all going to sleep at the same time. We're waking up at the same time. So a lot of that, you feel like you're all doing the same thing, and you get a feel for that's what these top level guys are doing. I'm doing it with them. I'm in there. I'm being competitive with them. So that's just like a mental reinforcement, really.
Definitely. And obviously this Liam McCracken versus yourself fight, it often in the case with grappler versus grappler, it turns into a striking battle. Are you expecting that striking match with Liam, or do you think there'll be a few grappling exchanges, wrestling exchanges against the Cajun on the mat?
I know he said he did a little interview thing, and he said that he's looking to knock me out. So there we go on his game plan. I think he's going to look to strike with me and knock me out. I don't know. You can read into that what you like. Does that tell you that he doesn't want anything to do with me on the floor? That's what I think. And yeah, I'm going to just, regardless of whatever Liam brings to the table, I'm just going to put my game plan in. I go to my strengths, wherever I see the opportunities, I'll take it. And I'm just kind of not thinking about that. I'm thinking, if I need to strike, I'll strike. If I need to grapple, I'll grapple.
Yeah, I've seen that he's been working with his boxing coach quite a bit on his Instagram and stuff. So I'm sort of expecting the same sort of thing, a striking battle. How do you sort of stay motivated to keep doing this matchup? Because obviously I think it's been booked 2 or 3 times now, and obviously COVID stopped that. Has it been a struggle to keep going? I've got to prepare again for this again, or is it just business as usual?
Yeah, it's business as usual in the extent that I'm not really getting prepared for the opponent, just getting prepared for me being fit, being ready to fight on that day. But it was like when we got the date, we were fighting on the weekend of July 10th and 11th, that just lit that fire under my belly again, because it's like, right, this is Liam. This is a good test for me. This is someone who's going to get me out of bed every morning and think, fuck, there's a chance he can beat me. And that's what you need in an opponent. You need someone to think, Liam can beat me, so I need to really fucking work hard to make sure this is like a perfect performance for me. So once we've got that date lined up, it excites me again. So that's exactly what I need.
Definitely. How do you think his power lines up in the lightweight division? Because obviously he is a former bantamweight. I think even flyweight at one point, obviously coming up from featherweight. I think his power lines up at 155.
Well, he's climbed the ranks, hasn't he? He's similar age to me, filling out. So I don't know. It is one of them that we'll see once we're in there. But I think there will be a strength advantage to me and a size advantage, because no matter whether we're both going to weigh 70 kilos, but it's that experience of I've trained with heavier guys. I've fought with heavier guys, so it might be a little bit fresh to him. He might be used to being stronger than his opponents, and now he's moving up. And yeah, I think there will probably be a size advantage to me, but it'll be very marginal.
Yeah. How do you? What is your sort of plan after this? Then, win or lose, is it pros next, or are you looking for a few more amateur fights or an IMAS potentially coming up? What's the plan for Teddy Stringer after Liam McCracken?
Yeah, so I'm not sure, but it's not announced anyway. But I'll tell you. So on September 4th, I'm fighting for the Almighty title. So that'll be a nice one to cap off the amateurs for me. So straight back into camp after Liam's fight. Start of September, fight for the Almighty title, and then maybe one more amateur, or see what the crack is with the IMAFs. And then, yeah, close out this year, and then it's straight onto the pros. So yeah, we'll see how September goes. Get a nice new belt, and then we'll feel it out from there.
I appreciate that. Where do you sort of see yourself then, if we're looking from now to next year? What if I had to ask you where do you think you'll be? What would you say? Would you say you're doing an IMAFs, or would you say maybe pros? What would you say?
Mate, I'll tell you right now that this time next year, yeah, I will be signed to Cage Warriors, fighting for them. That is what's going to be happening. It's as soon as I make that switch to go pro, I will make my way to Cage Warriors and I'll be on there. So yeah, next year, Cage Warriors.
I say it's been a long time coming, because we obviously had that. I think it was your second fight or your third again on the Cage Warriors show. We haven't seen you back there yet. Obviously, no fault of your own. It's just COVID and stuff hit it up. So it'd be good to see you back on that stage. Do you speak to Paul, who does the matchmaking for Cage Warriors, quite a bit, or is there much contact?
Yeah, so Paul Reed he's not quite as involved with Cage Warriors anymore. I don't think he's taken a step to like nutrition and stuff like that, and strength and conditioning, but obviously I've got quite a good relationship with him, and then Ian Dean and like Graham Boylan. Like if they don't know who I am now, they'll know who I am by the end of the year. So we'll form those relationships, and we'll get on to Cage Warriors, no doubt, next year.
Definitely. Are you surprised by how much coverage this fight's getting? Because it's like very heavily covered. There's a lot of big names looking at this fight saying this is the big. I think I've seen Brian Lacey the other day saying it's probably the best amateur fight in the UK at the minute. Are you surprised how it's like eyes are on this?
A bit. You know, it's nice to see so many eyes on it, but also like I'm not surprised, because I don't think there's been an amateur fight at this level for a while since I've been fighting. Anyway, I don't think there's been amateur fight with this hype behind it, because he's the best featherweight amateur. I think I'm the best lightweight amateur, and that like champ versus champ thing is obviously going to get people excited. So yeah, I'm not surprised whatsoever, really.
Definitely. Just on that actually featherweight division, I think Liam's been matched with Staines. I think the same card you mentioned, September. Who do you have in that fight, by curiosity, if it was to go ahead?
I'll back Liam, because I know George Staines. He's sub Marlon Jones, I think, which is like a good scalp for him to have. But I've not really seen too many of his fights other than that one. So I know he's got some decent grappling, but I think I think Liam will probably take that one. I'd like to think so anyway. Even regardless of whether I win, lose, or draw against Liam, I want him to go on and do the best that he can, because, you know, I want to fight people who are the best. So I'd like him to beat George Staines, and then in MMA math, that means I'm better than George Staines too.
Definitely. Just on Cage Warriors, obviously, you could say your teammate as well. You do train with Jordan Visage quite a bit. How thrilled were you to see him pick up the title against Morgan Charrier?
Oh, mate, it was so good. It was one of them fights where Jordan seems to be like the split decision king. Like they're so close some of his past few fights, but he did the job. He executed his game plan perfectly, and it's just buzzing to see someone that you train with and go on and do those things, and kind of lets you. Like when he walked back into the gym the next week with the Cage Warriors belt on his shoulder, I saw that and thought, yeah, I want that too. So I'm buzzing.
I was going to say, is it inspiring for you? Is it like you train with him and stuff, you see around him? Is it inspiring for you as a young amateur fighter? Like, this is what I want to be. This is what I can see this in my future. Obviously, you mentioned signing for Cage Warriors. Is it inspiring for you seeing like that a teammate come back with the belt? Like, that guy can be me in a year two's time.
Yeah, 100%. You know, when you see the people around you succeeding, it kind of shows you that like anyone can do it. You see what they do, and you just know if you match that work rate and stay disciplined, then that could be me one day.
Definitely. Two more questions from me. Any sponsors you would like to thank that have come on board or still supporting you throughout?
Yeah. So the big one that's come on board who are doing bits for me at the moment is TMG Club. So they're the Money Group. So they're a mortgage company, and they've been great supporting me throughout my past fight and throughout the lockdowns, just keeping me going, getting me to train and stuff like that. So I'd just like to thank them.
Brill. And just finally, a prediction for the Liam fight.
Prediction for the Liam fight. Yeah, I mean, I think the more the camp goes on, the more I'll start to see a shot or see a submission that start to hit and feel. But I feel like I'll submit Liam inside the first 3 rounds. I'd like to think that's what I'd like.
Tremendous. Best of luck, Teddy. Thanks for the time.
Sweet. Cheers, Charlie.